Welcome back, Shalligators. Today, I am finally bringing you the long-awaited, long-promised weight loss update video because you guys have watched me lose a lot of weight over the last, gosh, I guess it's 2 years now. And a huge reason behind my weight loss was Ozempic. And I've always been very honest and upfront about this, but I know you guys still have a ton of questions. I've recently come back from Mexico where I was posting my ass all over everything and I've been working out a ton. So I wanted to just kind of update you guys, answer some of the questions you had about it, tell you if I'm still on Ozempic, if I'm gonna go off it, the side effects, and how I reshaped my body. Is it all Ozempic? Is it 50%? We're gonna get into all of it. So before we do though, I just want to let you know what today is. Well, what this whole month is. It's November. No. Listen, I want us all to finish the year strong, right? I want us to be there December 31st, clinking glasses and thinking, you know what? I'm so proud of myself for what I've done this year. And I'm actually excited to set new goals because I have the data that I can accomplish goals. So now this is an exciting thing. It's not like, I have to do this. I'm such a loser. No, like, yes, like we did this and this. What is next? You know what the root of that is going to be? Saying no to things. It's regret season. When we look around and we're like, there's so much I didn't accomplish. And worse, we're going into the holidays where your budget, your health, your routines, your goals, your peace, and your boundaries are all going to come under attack from parties and family and gift giving and all of that stuff. So I want us to focus on saying no. All right? Say no to things. But listen, this is scary because it's like, well, then I might not have any friends. Like people are going to get mad at me and I can't just like not have anyone to talk to. This is where I come in. You guys ready? Join the Shallon Entourage. This is a place for friends. We've got 700 Shalligators in there, all bad bitches, because it's much easier to say no and have boundaries if you know you got a gang behind you. You always have us. You are never alone with the Shallon Entourage. And that's kind of why I created it. It's made me a lot stronger and bolder so that I can cut people out of my life. I'm like, I have my girls to talk to. So come on over. It's great. You can save 15% over 3 months. It's wonderful. Okay, let's talk body things. First of all, I want to say that I don't give trigger warnings, right? Because no one here is such a huge wuss that they need like a trigger warning. She's talking about eating issues. Yeah, I am. You know why? Because I'm a woman. And that's what we talk about most of the time is our bodies and eating and how we feel fat or how we feel thin, blah, 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 blah. I am also going to be using words like fat and thin as I define them. I define them. When I was fat, I wouldn't have looked at someone else who was my weight and been like, hey, fatty, but I was fat for me. And I have the right to decide what feels fat on my frame and what doesn't, just like you do. This is also not going to be one of those horseshit videos about body positivity. I am not a body positivist. I am a goals positivist. Whatever your goals are, I'm gang for that. Great, I love it. You want to be 110 pounds? Amazing. You want to be 160? Great, good for you. I don't care. But I'm not going to sit here for the next 30 minutes and tell you that it is fun to be fat. It's not. It's terrible. And the body positivity movement is actually the gaslighting movement. You should love the way your thighs shape. You should love it the way your thighs shape. Fuck you if you don't. You don't have any self-esteem if you don't want to be fat. I tried to buy into that for years. And it was just this endless cognitive dissonance loop in my head because I actually hated it. And again, fat for me is not fat for anyone else. Like, whatever. But where I was at, I was technically not like fat. I was on, I think, I didn't even know when I started losing weight. I think I was about 168 pounds. Let's go with that. I was 168. That's not like morbidly obese. You know, there's definitely fatter people out there. But for me, I'm like, who have I become? This is not me. This is not my frame. This is not my body type. No. And you know what? I wasn't happy. And people like, woo, curvy queen. I was like, I'm a curvy queen. I'm a curvy queen. I didn't want my curves to be here. I wanted them to be like here, right? I was a queen of width. Not what I wanted, of girth, not length, not what I wanted. And when I finally stopped gaslighting myself and buying into this idea that I could love my body at this size, I was able to change it. And I feel better. And again, I would never tell someone who was 168, yikes, unless they were feeling yikes about it. You don't feel yikes about it? Be whatever size you want. But listen, You need to make sure that you are healthy. There is a difference between healthy and fuckable. You are fuckable at any size. You're fuckable and you're lovable at any size. You are not healthy at any size. You're not healthy. And you know who should not be determining what's healthy? Lizzo. Okay? And all the fats all over Instagram and these fatfluencers who need oxygen to be on a plane. You are not a healthy person. You're not. You're fuckable and you're lovable. You're not a bad person, but you are not healthy. The people who determine health, they're called doctors. They're doctors. Even personal trainers, we can just start there. But pop stars who are morbidly obese are not it. So when you have these fatfluencers telling you, gaslighting you that like you should be happy, fuck those people. Fuck those people. Misery loves company. I've been fat and I've been thin, and there's absolutely no comparison. And again, you don't have to be my size. This is where I'm comfortable. But let me tell you, I have a lot of Asian friends and they would look at my weight and they're like, if they woke up and they were like 126 pounds, they're like, I gotta go on a diet. That's not good for their frame. That's not good for, fuck their frame. That's not where they wanna be. Great, who cares? I don't care what size people wanna be as long as they're healthy, So let's talk Ozempic. If you guys have been watching me for a minute, you know, I started Ozempic I think it was like September 2021. And it started because I went to see my plastic surgeon to get a little like Botox and stuff in New York. And she's fantastic. And I was like, you know, I can't see, my jaw is just really like undefined. I need filler in my jaw. And this woman is my friend. And she looks me up and down and she's like, you're too fat. It's not, you have a jawline, but you're too fat. You're too fat. You need to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to send you to a doctor, an endocrinologist. She's going to sort you out. To hear that from a doctor was such a blessing, I cannot even tell you. Like, I owe her my life. I owe her my happiness for being like, no, you want to look a certain way? You're not going to at this weight. And don't pump yourself full of like plastic fillers and polymers. Lose the weight. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I saw an endocrinologist. I am severely hypoglycemic, and it's kind of the opposite of being diabetic. Diabetics don't produce insulin. Hypoglycemics, we produce like too much, like an inappropriate amount, given how much sugar. So you eat sugar and your body produces insulin to combat the sugar, you know, to keep the sugar from being like, rah, and just taking over and crashing you out. We produce too much insulin. So any little bit of sugar, our body's like, attack, insulin. And then we get too much insulin in our body and we have insulin resistance. And that can lead you to holding a lot of weight, especially around your stomach area. And you just feel like shit. Like, I would feel horrible if I would eat something sugary first thing in the morning. I'd throw up and I'd have to go back to bed. And I truly thought everyone was like that until people were like, no, man, like no, actually, you don't, it's very bad. It's very bad. And so Ozempic helps regulate that. It helps keep my blood sugar on a much more even keel. And that has been like absolutely life-changing for me. And so, spoiler alert, I'm still on it. I am not on the same dose I was, and I take it much less frequently. Like, I take half as much, half as often. So I'll do like a 0.5 milligram every 3 weeks. And when I was like at the highest, I was taking 2 milligrams once a week. Not for very long. Like, I kind of peaked and I was like, I think I can like step down. And so I'm on a low dose, but I feel good on it. And my weight is regulated, my appetite is regulated, and most importantly, my blood sugar is. All my lab work, because I see a naturopath, so she does like all sorts of things that sometimes regular doctors don't bother to check for. My labs are incredible, my skin is great, my hair is shiny. People can die fucking mad about it if they don't like me being on Ozempic. These people need to look in the mirror and ask themselves why they give a shit so much what I do with my body that doesn't affect them. And a big pushback I've gotten is, so, Shallon, you won't get the COVID vaccine, but you'll take this? Yes. Do you know why? Because it's my body. And I actually get to decide. So because I won't put everything in my body, I shouldn't put anything in there. Ozempic has been around for 14 years. COVID had not been around for 14 days when I was getting the push to get it. I'm a data-driven person. I'm also allowed, as an autonomous human being, to do my own risk analysis on what works for my body and choose accordingly. Again, die mad about that. So how much weight did I lose? Let's go down to how much weight did I lose? Let's get it. Okay. Here are my before and afters. I started at, what do we decide? 168. I'm 5'5" on a good day. Like we can say I'm 5'5", okay? I don't know that I'm 5'5", and I weighed 168. That's, again, I wasn't like morbidly obese, but as you can see, that's not a look. That's not what was good for my frame. You can see there was a thin person under there. I have very small bones. I'm not a big person. When you guys meet me in person, the first thing everyone says is, you're so small. And I am. I'm just not a huge person, but I was a chunky monkey for my frame and just what felt comfortable for me. So I just got back from Mexico and I weighed myself before I left. I'm at 126. So what is that? 44 pounds, 45 pounds? That's a lot. And remember, my doctor at the beginning of all this, she's like, you need to lose 30. And just goes to show, like, you can drop a lot more weight than you think. When people bring up Ozempic, because I feel like I've been kind of a Pied Piper, they've even talked about me on Ozempic on like the Today Show. They like cite me as like one of the original influencers who talked about it, which I really feel like I should get some kickbacks from Big Pharma. People, when they're like, oh, I was thinking about trying that. I'm like, you should. The whole world should be thinner. The whole world should be thinner. You know what? We are happier. We are healthier. We are less depressed. And that makes us a little bit harder to control, doesn't it? Yeah. There's an incentive for society to keep us fat. We consume more. That's good for big ag. Think of it that way. If you weighed 25% less, you would consume 25% less. You might be 25% happier, 30% happier, smarter. When you are your best self, the powers that be, the nefarious ones, don't really like that. Look at this in your personal life. I just talked about November, right? When you're like, that actually doesn't work for me. I'm going to protect my goals, my peace, what's authentic to me. Look around at your life and see who has a real problem with that. See the people who value you only when you're compliant. We know that that's a dynamic in our personal life. Now expand this onto the macro. So I'm always in favor of people going on it. But people always say the same thing. They say the same thing. I mean, I could lose like 15 pounds. You have no idea how little 15 pounds is. It's nothing. You aren't gonna drop a dress size. You will fit into your clothes the way you think you've been fitting into your clothes, right? You're gonna look how it's like, I look good. You actually didn't look good in your clothes. 15 pounds down, you're gonna look how you did in your mind. But you won't go down a size unless you're like 5 feet tall. But if you're, not ultra short, 15 pounds is not gonna do that much. Most people need to lose 30 to 45, if not a lot more. A lot more. We're a really fucking fat society. We're really, really fat. I was just in Mexico and at a resort. Obviously everyone's in swimsuits. And I'm like, everyone here is literally so fat. So fat. I was the thinnest person by a mile. And I'm not like a Victoria's Secret model, people. I feel I'm a very normal weight for my height. Technically, for me to be underweight at 5'5", I would have to be 112 pounds. That's what, 14 pounds down? That is a hell of a lot. That's a lot. So I am by no means ultra thin for my size. I'm not. But I was looking around, it's like people are so used to how fat they are. Americans are so used to how fat they are. We have elastic clothes that don't really require us to like stay between, a navigational beacon. And it's just part of our culture to eat, gobble, consume, And I thank God every day for Ozempic, for helping me snap out of it. So like I said, it works by regulating your insulin. It cuts your appetite, it does. And what it also does is it attacks the part of your brain that's obsessive compulsive. And my doctor, she's like, I will use this for people with OCD who don't even have a weight problem. And they come to me, she's like, I had a guy come to me earlier today crying because he's like, I'm finally free of this obsession, these obsessive thoughts. And I really noticed that right away. Like I wasn't thinking about food. And that is I've started to cry when I've thought about how free I am from my food obsession. I truly didn't know life could be like this. I really didn't. And by the way, I'm not like getting paid to say any of this. I'm just shooting you guys straight, you know? I wish I was getting paid for this, but I'm not. If I had not lost a pound, truly, but it had just turned off this endless, lifelong food obsession, the way a drug addict obsesses. It's like, well, I gotta get more blow, and then I gotta do the blow, and then I gotta look for more blow, and then I gotta be sad about blow. If it had done nothing but turn that off, wow, worth its weight in gold, worth its weight. My income since I started this has tripled. Why? Because all the emotional bandwidth and all this like animal energy I was using in my mind to think about food and hating my body. Do I look fat? Do I look fat? Do I look fat? Are they going to think I'm fat? Who's going to be fatter than me? It was endless. I can channel that into work. I wish I got on this drug 10 years ago, 30 years ago. I just can't believe that I'm actually free. And I am never going back. I am never going back. If I have to be on this drug forever, fine, I don't care. I will not go back to that mental prison. I won't. What would you tell a drug addict, an alcoholic, who's like, I don't want to go off Antabuse, that drug that like makes you barf and die if you drink on it. Like, I don't want to. Why should I? You'd be like, you know what? Yeah, why should you? You could white knuckle it through this, but if you can have a boost and it keeps you healthier and fights off comorbidities and keeps you sane and happy, what's so wrong with that? So, again, people can die mad about it. We would love to all live this completely free, holistic life. And you know what, guys? I actually pretty much do. So let's talk about what I do and don't do on Ozempic. When I started taking it, within a week, I was locked out of alcohol. I couldn't drink anymore. I couldn't get drunk. And I discovered this on a bachelorette party. They're like, take another shot. I'm like, I've had 4 and I don't think I should take another shot. I've always been a lightweight, but like I could not get drunk at all. So I just stopped. I didn't even try. Like I stopped drinking like hardcore for probably a year. Now I'll have like a drink just for like the taste, like, ooh, a glass of wine sounds good. Or like they have a fun craft cocktail, but like, that's it. Like, I can't remember the last time I've had more than like 2 drinks. I got real buck wild the other day and had 3. And I was like, ha, 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 ha. And then I stopped and I was like, I actually don't love this feeling. I've learned to just raw dog life. And I did a whole video on this, how to have fun sober. So check that out. But that has been huge. And I never had like a drinking problem, but it was social, and I am very social, and I go out a lot, and I live in the country, so people drink. You drink more than you think you do, and you eat more than you think you do. And to just have that no longer be an option, wow, again, incredible, thank you. And I really made it my mission. I'm like, if I'm gonna be taking this drug, I'm gonna be injecting something in my body, there's just something inside me that like, girl, this is your shot. I mean, well, literally, this is your chance to really to be the person you want to be. You're not happy unless you're thin. You're not. So let's fucking do it. And I was seeing a naturopath and she's like, you're super sensitive to dairy. So I cut out dairy. And as a hypoglycemic, I know I'm sensitive to sugar. So sugar went away too. So people who shit on me for being on a drug, my lifestyle is cleaner and more organic than any y'all motherfuckers saying that about me. Sorry, it is. I don't drink, I don't eat dairy, and I don't eat sugar. How many people can say that? How many people can say that? So I would say for the first year, I was, I don't know, for the first like 8 months, I was eating like 600-700 calories a day. Not a lot at all. And I will not lie to you, you lose weight, but you lose your muscle tone when you're eating that little. I didn't have a ton of muscle tone to begin with. Like I wasn't like hard body Shallon. I wasn't really working out. And my plan always was get down to your goal weight, whatever it takes, and then we're gonna build the muscle back up. That was always the plan. And that's exactly what I did. So this past January, I really, really threw myself into working out. And I was working out a little. I was like doing Pilates a lot, but I wasn't like building muscle, you know? Almost a year ago, I started working out with a trainer. I work out 3 to 4 times a week. Now it's about 4. I play tennis in between and I do pole dance or Pilates. So I work out 5 to 7 times a week. I work out a lot. And when I'm at my trainer, we're not like doing cardio and jumping jacks. I am lifting. So here's some of my progress. And before that, I was skinny, like before I started working out. And my trainer was like, it makes you look older without having muscle tone. And I'm like, ugh, he knows what to say. Now he's like, you look so much younger. You just look more filled out and womanly. So my measurements when I started, shoot, I have to look them up. I guess I'll just tell you what they are now. So my waist is like 26.5. My hips are, I think, 39. I've gained an inch on each of my legs. I don't know what I've gained on my arms, but I filled out. So I have created a much more hourglass shape. My butt has gotten bigger and my waist has gotten smaller. And I don't lift super heavy. I mean, I lift heavy for myself. I'm like fighting for my life out there, but like I should get the award, like the old lady lifting award at my gym, because I'm not a heavy lifter, and like, that's fine. That's totally fine. You're only competing against yourself in the gym. I really value a trainer because he pushes me so much harder than I would ever push myself, like ever push myself. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to spend an hour there every day, I want to make it count. So if it's something you can afford to do, I think it's very, very good for you. Even if you do it like once a week, just to get familiar with the machines, do it for a few weeks. And you're like, okay, now I know how to like do these exercises. It really can make such a difference. It's such a good bang for your buck. But in terms of calories, I am no longer eating 600 or 700 calories a day. Like I couldn't sustain that. I can't build muscle and eat that little. And just as I've like tapered down on Ozempic, my appetite has increased. But because I have had these systems in place, no dairy, no sugar, no alcohol, even if I'm like wiling out, it's still in a narrow spectrum. Like my cheat days are like, I'll have 2 Godiva chocolates. I don't eat Godiva because it's shitty, but you know what I mean. Instead of like 5 or 6 or 10 or whatever. Like it's still so much lower. The impact is so much less than it would have been before this. And that's not the drug. That is my system. I know a lot of people who have gone on this drug. A lot. And I don't know any who have had the success that I have. Because none of those people have put their systems into place. I shouldn't say none. Christy, you've had a bomb-ass result, but a lot of people haven't. People in my town, I give them exactly this speech. First thing, you gotta stop drinking, plus. You have to take out alcohol, plus one thing. Maybe it's gluten, maybe it's sugar, maybe it's dairy. I don't know, whatever your body's reactive to, but it has to be booze is gone and then one more thing is gone. And they just look at me and they're like, yeah, no, I'll do that. Literally none of them have. And guess the fuck what? You will drop 15 to 20 pounds like that. You will. Ozempic will do that for you. You will put 15 to 20 pounds back the fuck on once you go off of it because you don't have any systems. And nothing has driven me crazier than watching these like fat influencers. Remy Bader is one of them. And she's like, Ozempic made me gain the weight back. How the fuck are you going to blame a drug you're not even taking for what you are picking up and putting in your mouth? How is that a drug's fault that you're not even on? It's like me blaming my mood swings on meth. Are you on meth? No. I really don't see what that is. You know what? I don't see what that has to do with anything, Megan. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And I'm no big pharma apologist, girl, but I am a logic person. That woman gained all the weight back because she actually didn't change anything when she was on it. Ozempic is not a rocket ship, it's a horse and a buggy. It'll get you someplace, but you gotta work it. And it's not gonna take you out to the stratosphere, or it will, but it's gonna take you right the fuck back when you go off of it. I had a friend, she dropped 15 to 20 pounds here, and she's like, I don't wanna get too thin. Girl, you had 40 more pounds to lose, but sure, let's all buy into this fantasy. And she just went off it. At the holidays, of all the times when you're confronted, okay, but she never stopped drinking. And let me say that my experience with not being able to drink on Ozempic is apparently very rare. I've like even looked on Reddit and not a lot of people report this, not nobody. And they do off-label Ozempic for alcoholics. If you take it in a high enough dose, it will lock you out of alcohol. But what happens is people who have that and they're like, no, I'm going to keep drinking, they will become an alcoholic. People who've had my experience, who didn't have the wherewithal to be like, I'm just going to stop drinking. Like, sorry to pat myself on the back, but it is an accomplishment and I'm going to crow about it. They will be like, okay, I guess I do have to take 4 shots, or maybe it's 6, or maybe I have to drink a whole bottle of wine to get that buzz on. Then they go off it and they're still drinking that much, and it's hitting so much harder now. Again, like, don't go on it if that's how you're going to act. Don't go on it if you don't want to change anything. Don't go on it if you are actually addicted to being fat. Because I look at the people who've gone on it and I see that. I'm like, wow, you want to be fat. However you define fat for yourself, you want to be fat because clearly you're not willing to change any of your behavior, and you are making 1 million arguments for team fat and not team healthy. Okay. Like they say to me, you just look too thin. I'm not. Okay. No doctor would tell me that I'm too thin. I'm not. And even if I am, I could give a shit. I look good and I feel good. And maybe let's say that I am too thin. That's how I like to look. Why does that trigger you so bad? Why does that trigger you? I'm healthier than you. I'm happier than you. My doctors are fine with it. Why do you think that your opinion is like what I'm living and dying by? Sorry. So right now, yeah, I weigh 126. I'm 5'5". I am a size 4, like 2 to 4, a small in pretty much everything. And here's another thing I was doing to lie to myself. This was my favorite. Is I was completely in denial about how fat I was, and would be like, all these clothes, they're cut for Asian bodies because Asians are the #1 consumer in the world. And that's not a crazy like concept. Like, you're going to cut it for your customer base, right? I just have this, I'm voluptuous and I'm full figured and everything's just like cut so small. These Amazon clothes, they're just cut so small. No, they're not. No, they're not. No. I was too big. It's not that a small is not a small. Yes, a small is a small in like Amazon Shein clothes. Yes, it is. I just wasn't a small. I was a large or an extra large. And I was in denial about that. And it's crazy how we look at ourselves in the mirror every day and we put our clothes on and we feel that they're tight, and we have this endless loop in our head of, I feel fat. Am I fat? Do I look fat? Who's fat? Who's fatter than me? Are they going to think I'm fat? What do I look like fat? Blah, blah, blah. What are my angles? And you know what this machine, what the answer it spits out is? You are not fat. It is actually Amazon's fault. Yes, goody. I knew it. It's bananas. It's fucking bananas. It's wild. So let me answer some questions you guys have about Ozempic. First and foremost, how the fuck much does this thing cost? Because, okay, when I went on it, I live in Montana, and I don't know if that's a factor. I'm just going to tell you my experience, and do what you want. I signed up for like the drug manufacturers, their like savings program. I don't know how I answered their series of questions. I mean, I answered truthfully. Like, I have insurance. I don't know what I said, but basically the shot, instead of being like $2,000 a month, is $25 a shot. So like $50 a month. I'm pretty sure I just sold my info to Big Pharma. I don't care. I have done more for less. Okay. So that's totally fine by me. You can obviously get this compounded. Well, you guys might not know this. So it's a semaglutide, and you might find it more affordable to go to like a med spa. Depending on where you live, it could be maybe $800 a shot and 2 shots a month, or 1 shot a month. I don't know. Look into it. I know that they have it in Mexico and they have it in pill form. All of this is very murky. I don't know about this stuff, but I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of other kind of like options. How do you get this prescribed? The big metric is your A1C. Your A1C. That is an insulin marker in your body. My A1C was very high. I think it was at a 6. So I was pre-diabetic, and that was a very sobering thing to hear. You don't want to go there, because once you tip into diabetes, it's like this domino effect in your body. It is possible to undo it, but it's not, you don't want to get there. You don't want to get there. It's really bad. And so that was like a huge determining factor for me to go on this drug. So if you are looking to get it prescribed, get your labs done and get your A1C checked. Okay. So that's going to be a huge, huge marker, because it's not even about how much weight you have to lose. It's like, where are my insulin levels at? Am I insulin resistant? Are you maybe hypoglycemic? Are you diabetic? What have been the side effects? Kind of nothing. So because I'm hypoglycemic, this is how I would feel. When I ate the wrong thing or didn't eat at the right times, like when my blood sugar would get low because I was hungry, I would get very nauseous, very faint, incredibly bitchy, and I would be crashing. I was in a glycemic crash, as they call it. And so Ozempic gave that more of a hard stop. So I went from a 10 to like a 5 on the glycemic crash scale. If you're not hypoglycemic, you went from a 0 up to a 5. And so this is the big thing that people say, like, you get nauseous, you get nauseous. You get nauseous because you're not eating enough protein, or you're not eating enough at all. And when you're nauseous, sometimes you're like, I don't want anything. That's making it worse. Do not eat carbohydrates. That's going to send you further into that glycemic crash, because that your body's processing it as just pure sugar. You might as well have sugar cubes like you're a horse. Protein. So I would have like packets of meat everywhere. And don't do beef jerky. It requires too much chewing and it doesn't process enough. I would cook, like I get stew meat from the grocery store and cook it up and put it in little tiny containers, and I just have it in the fridge, and I eat meat all day long. My diet is pretty much only meat and kale. Pretty much. That's the cornerstone. Soups. But yeah, kale Caesar salad, and like various meats. I cook up a bunch of chicken sausage. I eat like a boy. I eat like a weird frat guy, boy bodybuilder, and I cook up a bunch of chicken thighs and, you know, beef steak cubes. And that's just like what I eat. Unless I'm going out with my friends. Yeah. It's a very simple diet, but I find it incredibly nourishing, and I like crave these things. Like, oh, I could have my kale. Do I sound like I have an eating disorder? Whatever, I'm happy and I look good and I'm healthy. Who cares? And then at night, I'll have like one piece of candy and I'm like, oh, it's my little treat. And then that's it. And I'm good. I don't really drink soda. I drink a lot of iced tea. Oh, and I have an oat milk latte every day. I love my seed oils. I have an oat milk latte with a little bit of sugar. And like, that's how I get my sugar. And that's like probably more sugar than I should be having. But it's like, it's a very little bit, but it keeps me satisfied. I'm like, okay, that's my little treat. But yeah, my diet's really simple. It's really simple. In the morning before I work out, I make an English muffin with avocado on it and everything but the bagel seasoning. And I have half of that, half an English muffin. And then I don't eat again until, I don't know, noon, 1. What time is it now? I'm getting hungry. I have my kale Caesar or some meat, and I'll, rinse, repeat for the evening. Here's the thing though. When I travel, all bets are off. I have dairy, I have alcohol, I have sugar. But again, because I have these really good, healthy, rigid systems in place, my like bad girl time in Mexico, I had half of a pina colada and I was like, wow! I was just like delighted by it. In the past, I would have had 4 in one day. I had a few cubes of cheese, a little queso. I was like, this is so good. I would have had tons of that. So I am still indulging. I travel with my mouth and I like to try everything. I like to eat things. I like to get pastries and have some croissants in the morning if I'm in Europe. Fuck it, man. I didn't get fat over 5 days in Europe. I ain't gonna get thin. By restricting myself, it just really puts a damper on my joy in life. And I would rather restrict myself at home because it doesn't feel like a restriction. It feels like my healthy systems. The way I make my bed every day, the way I go to the gym. I'm like, this is just part of my healthy systems and I like it. Okay, so I'm sorry. Back to the side effects. Will you get tummy aches? Will you basically shit your pants on Ozempic? No. Oh, okay, well, hold on. Yes. My friend and I call it like we Ozempic'd ourselves. If we are very naughty girls, for her thing is greasy foods. She cannot have greasy foods or she will be on the toilet for 2 straight days and then feel like she's got the last day of having the flu. Do you know what I mean? Or she'll throw up. She'll throw up a lot. She'll burst blood vessels in her eyes. I haven't had that experience. If I have too much dairy, I get what I call the dairy flu, where I am exhausted. I can't work. I have to go back to bed by 10 a.m. And I'm like, great, I Ozempic to myself. It's fucking great. So that helps keep you accountable. And people are like, oh, I don't want to have an upset tummy. How is your body working right now? Like, is your body just this temple that never has anything wrong with it? Don't your joints hurt maybe? Are you breaking out? Are you sleeping poorly? Is your tummy already upset? That's because you're putting shit ass food inside of it. So why don't you put a drug that is going to enable you to put healthy food in and see what happens? You're going to shit your pants on Ozempic if you're eating poorly. And you know what? You should. We all should. That should always be a consequence of putting Burger King into it 3 times a week. Like, that should not be something your body has gotten used to. You know what I mean? But we have. So if you go into this with the attitude of, I am putting my behavior with this drug's behavior, girl, you're going to change your life. You're going to change your life. But if you're like, this drug will do absolutely everything for me, I'm not going to change anything, and I'm just going to complain when I poop my pants at a movie theater or when I gain it all back, don't even bother. Don't bother. Because you're just going to hate yourself for having this amazing opportunity and blowing it. I know, because I'm watching my friends do exactly that. And the panic that they feel having blown this opportunity to really get their health in order, I know that feeling. When you're like, this diet pill is going to work and I'm going to be saved from all this, and it doesn't. And you're just like bereft. Like, what is going to come save me now? This can, if you're willing to put in the work. If you're willing to put in the work. If you're not, I don't know, man. And you know what? If you want to put in the work and not take the drug, fine. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Great, good for you. And you can trash me for taking the easy way out. Come to the gym with me sometime. See how easy that way out is. And people trash Khloe Kardashian, right? Like, oh, she just lost all this weight on Ozempic. I lost weight on Ozempic. It didn't give me a 6-pack like she has. Her ass is in the gym. She put her yes with the drugs yes. If that's even what she did, which probably. I think like so many stars have. And on one hand, it's annoying that they're like, no, it wasn't Ozempic. Because like, honestly, what if it wasn't and they're actually just killing themselves at the gym and just white knuckling it, and people assume they like took the easy way out? Like, that really sucks. That really sucks, which is why I'm upfront about it. Like, I don't know. I don't want to gaslight anyone and lie to anybody. Like, this is what I've done because I'm confident in my decisions. And again, like, that's hella weird if you have a real issue with what I do to my body to feel my best. Is this how you'd wear your hair? If the answer is no, are you like melting down over it? You should see someone. I just see what your local mental health professional would have to say about that. So when you see these articles about people having these horrible reactions to Ozempic or nothing worked or blah, 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 scratch the surface a little. Look at their lifestyle. Did it change? Were they behaving the exact same way that made them fat and expecting a miracle? This drug is a miracle if you want it to be. I mean, kind of like anything else. I don't know. And of course, the big question you guys want to know, am I ever going to go off of it? Like I said, I've like tapered way down, but I'm happy. And my body feels so good. And again, to be free of the madness of thinking about food all the time. No, I actually don't want to go back to that. I don't want to. Everyone is happier when they're thinner. And within a healthy range, obviously. Everyone is. I don't know anyone who has lost weight and been like, God, I just miss being obese. I just miss those 30 pounds. That was a great time. Have you ever heard anyone say that? I haven't. And anyone who tries to say that they do are lying. If that person has lost weight and they're normal and healthy, no one's like, ooh, those halcyon days of chafing thighs and interrupted sleep apnea is great. I loved it. I loved them having to go in the back of a boutique to look for an XXL because they don't carry my size out front. I loved that experience of never getting to wear anything trendy because I was too fat for it. It was great. Woo! You don't have to love that. And if there's people out there who genuinely feel that way, amazing. Good for them. I've never met them in my entire life of being a woman talking about food all the time, but maybe they're out there. Cool. Don't listen to them. Listen to you. And if that's what you are organically saying, great, amazing, you don't care. But if that isn't what you're saying to yourself, if that seems like a crazy concept to love gaining weight, embrace that. Don't let this body positivity movement gaslight you into thinking you have to like join them in their sadness wherever they are. You do what works for you, and you have the right to decide what your body looks like. If it's healthy, remember, you're fuckable at any size, Do you, boo? Whether that's Ozempic, whether that's the gym, whether that's whatever. Make your body happy. Make your body healthy. Make healthy choices. Give up shit that's bad for you. Give it up. Try it. See if your skin clears. See if you're less bloated. See if you feel happier. See if your anxiety disappears. Mine has, my God, drastically reduced. Probably because I don't drink. I haven't had a hangover in 2 years. Wow. What freedom that is. To know how I'm going to feel every day. To be able to plan my life. Did I mention the income tripling thing? Yeah. So let me know your questions about Ozempic. I'm happy to answer, any questions you have. I think that's pretty much, those are like the big questions that we covered. And you know what? If you're coming here as like a pro-fat person, that's great. Please understand your lapse in logic when you are telling people to love their body, but I'm not allowed to love mine. You should love how you look, not like that, not if you're skinny and white. Okay. So sorry, I like how I look. Sorry for party rocking. Sorry, I'm living a life that is very kind of rigid and controlled, but in a way that makes me very happy. Sorry if you think that's an eating disorder. All my doctors disagree. So let me know what YouTube medical school you went to, and we can go from there. And like I said, if you need some friends, join the Shallontourage. A lot of girls in the Shallontourage are doing a semaglutide, so that's like the generic for Ozempic, and there's like a whole bunch of discussions about it, and you can get a lot of resources and a lot of help, or just come and chit chat, and we'll talk about anything that we want. All right, Shalligators, I will see you next time. Mwah!